This is the State Farm Postgame Show.
And hello again, everyone, and welcome to the State Farm Postgame Show. A reminder, coming up next, catch a collection of some of the most uplifting and inspirational stories from on and off the football field this season. Tune in to the CBS Sports Spectacular, Courage in Sports, Gridiron Greatness. That, again, it's coming up next right here on CBS. Back here inside the Sean McManus studio, JB along with Coach Nate and Matt, and we get you caught up on the action.
All right, buckle up. This was a wild one in the 1 o'clock window between Miami and Buffalo. Right here, Josh Allen is going to find Ray Davis, who's going to make one man miss and take this in for a 63-yard touchdown. They went for two. It was good. That put Buffalo on top 20-13. Then Miami comes back. Devon Achane with the 8-yard touchdown run. Knotted it up at 20. But later, Josh Allen going to scramble to his right. Take a look, climb the pocket, and then flick this over the top. Quentin Morris, good for the touchdown, puts Buffalo on top 20-7-20. And now Tua comes back, scrambles again. He's going to find Jalen Waddle right here. Beautiful little flick of the wrist. But it was Tyler Bass at the end with 10 seconds left, hitting the 61-yard field goal for the win. Buffalo wins 30-27 in a wild back-and-forth ball game over there in Orchard Park.
During the pregame show, Nate Burleson had talked about how Josh Allen owned Miami. It is now 13-2 in favor of Josh Allen. After the game, it was our Tracy Wolfson with Josh Allen. Make that Melanie Collins with Josh Allen.
Josh, congratulations on the win, and what a finish. Your kicker, Tyler Bass, wins this one for you on a 61-yard field goal. What was going through your mind when he went out there for that kick?
Just emotional for him. He's been battling his ass off, fighting adversity. You saw that today, and be there in the biggest moment and nail that for us. I'm so proud of him. I love that man. Everybody in our locker room loves and trusts him, and just happy he went in.
Just describe your emotions on the day today.
Oh, first half, really ugly. Second half, we got it going. I kind of called it at halftime. I said, defense, you get a takeaway. We're going to go down and score, and that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what we did. We just kept turning it out. Ray Rory making a great play there, running for 60-whatever yards it was. It took a couple special plays from some special men. We got to clean it up in that first half, but proud of our guys.
You talk about some special men. You guys have been living by the everybody eats mantra this season. 9 different receivers caught passes from you today. How much of a luxury is that?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Matt Collins stepping up there late. Obviously, Keon goes down, making a few stops and catches on third down. That's huge for us. Q Morris scoring a touchdown. Ray Davis scoring a touchdown. We're just trying to find the open guy and give our guys some chances, and they're making some plays.
Enjoy the win, Josh. Thank you.
Go Bills.
I think Josh is spot on. A resilient win for them, right? And against a Miami team, we talked about it in the pregame, that was desperate coming into it. They played really hard. They played really well. But a good win, good division win. We talk about it all the time. Throw the records out when you have these division ball games. They found a way to get it done.
You know, and I think the tough thing on that last drive, Jordan Poyer, the former Bill, gets a 15-yard unnecessary roughness call. And it was the right call.
Yeah.
Helmet to helmet, a defenseless player. But it's unfortunate it came down to that. I mean, for Tua Tagovailoa, 25 of 28 in this game. I thought he played miraculous. The running game was going. They just could not finish the deal. And this is 2 weeks in a row they've lost a game with a walk-off field goal by the other team.
Yeah, and as much as we love the complimentary players, this team goes as far as Tua will take them. I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins. But let's look at the other quarterback. We know what he means to the Bills. Josh Allen has that hyper-awareness saying, listen, it wasn't how we wanted it to be in the first half, but I talked to the defense, told them we would start making some plays, and that they did. Him just buying time, hits Hollins back in the end zone. And then he can use his legs, but he keeps his eyes upfield. And as a defender, you're looking at his helmet. You're saying, oh, he's looking downfield. I can't go out there and try to tackle him because he might throw it over the top of my head. Here, one of those situations. You think he's running with the ball, and then he finds Quentin Morris. And just check out this play. I mean, one guy draped on his ankles. He takes a hit up top, and then Morris goes up and catches the ball. And it was play after play for this offense in that second half that made it as competitive as it was. 25 for 39, 3 TDs. He didn't really need to rush the ball. And what I'm seeing more than I have in years past is when he breaks the pocket, he's doing it to extend plays versus going and capturing that first down. Don't get me wrong. Superman will put the cape on every now and then and just say, you know what, the offense isn't moving. I'll put the team on my back, and I'll turn into a running back. But this game, it's a little bit different. He understands, you got a lot of guys that can touch the rock. You target 9 different dudes. If everybody gets involved, this offense is hard to stop.
Good football teams win games when it's not perfect, right? And they had the turnover down in the low red zone to Keon Coleman on the quick little dart route, the quick slant that they had. He dropped. Jalen Ramsey gets it, right? Yeah. They had a touchdown called back on a holding penalty where Josh gets in there. They weren't firing on all cylinders, but they find ways to win. Who else has been doing that this season? The Kansas City Chiefs, right? Yeah. It seems like those 3 teams, the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, find ways to get it done even when they're not at their best.
You know, if you go back to a year ago, you remember watching Josh Allen. It's almost like Steph Diggs trying to make sure he's happy. And I think what you're seeing, I'm not saying that not having them, they're a better team, but I think Josh is in a better place. I think when you look at where you talk about the different players that he's around, he sits there and you look at he's 13-2. That's against Miami, but just seeing him on the sidelines, listening to him after the game, he's almost feel like he can now take leadership and ownership over this offense. And he's going to throw it to the open receiver.
He's grown.
He has grown, and so sometimes it's a collective that makes you even stronger than just maybe one person narrative.
Coach, let me ask you this. So we got seconds left on the clock, and it's Tyler Bass with a career-long attempt, 61 yards.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel, he's sitting there with 2 timeouts. You're not saving him for anything at this point. Do you call a timeout to try to ice Tyler, or at least maybe even talk to your special teams coach and say, all right, how are we approaching blocking this field goal?
You know, 100%. I personally believe there's a lot to be said for someone who have to think about the game-winning field goal. Yeah. The longer you have to think about it, now do it soon enough so he doesn't get a free kick at it, too.
Right.
So I just kind of line up and just like, you know, and so, I mean, to me, why not? I mean, let him think about it. Like you said, it's his longest attempt. He's missed some this year. Hey, let me think about it a little bit longer, and let me maybe remind you of what you've done the last couple of weeks. You've had some tough kicks.
Right.
I'm sure you'll get this one right. Not. But, you know, make him think about it. And I think that's part of the game and the strategy of the game.
And speaking of Tyler Bass, after it was your guy, Sean McDermott, that has given the ball to one Tyler Bass.
Unbelievable journey this guy's been on, man. Unbelievable, right? Mentally tough. So proud of you, man. Thanks. So proud of you. Aren't you guys proud of him? Man, I just want to say, man, I couldn't have done it without you guys, man. I've been through a lot. And I just lean on you guys heavy. You're always there for me. And community, go on, do that for you.
You know, I tell you, honestly, I mean, just knowing Sean McDermott and this football team, games like this can galvanize you. You see a guy that goes through the tough times. You see him being rewarded and the people that believed him. And you heard Josh talk about it afterwards. And it's moments like this where you grow as a football team. You get galvanized together. You pull for each other. And so nothing will seem insurmountable to this football team moving forward.
It's the moments like that I miss.
No doubt.
Not playing, right?
No doubt.
Is those times where you're in the locker room with the guys and you know the work that they've put in, you know what they've gone through to get to that point, and then celebrating with them, right? I think that's the thing as former players. It's hard to replicate in any phase of your life to try and find those type of moments.
And you can tell how close this squad is. Yeah. We listened to Josh Allen, like you said, talking to Melanie Collins. He got choked up when he was talking about Tyler. Yeah. Then you had McDermott in the locker room getting choked up as he's talking. And then Tyler starts speaking. He's pretty much in tears, and the locker room is silent. This isn't a team that is just trying to get through the season because of what they've been through, being so close. And I think there's dates all the way back to the 90s and getting to those Super Bowls and not getting over the hump, and then having a solid squad over the last handful of years and falling short because there's this superstar in Kansas City. There's a lot riding on this team because they know they have the talent to win a Super Bowl, and they are more connected than most squads. And to your point, Coach, sometimes it's how close you are as a unit that helps you get through, like, the rough patches of the season.
So preface on my remarks here, I may be totally off base, but listening to the collective three, the professors, if you will, Josh Allen seems to be so much more relaxed.
No doubt.
Even this is taking nothing away from what Steph Diggs brought to the team, but Josh Allen seems to be relaxed.
Yeah, very relaxed. He's got multiple targets to do it, right? We mentioned 9 guys getting targeted with the football today, but 2 mainly. Right? Yeah. Their offense right now in the passing game is running through Khalil Shakir, who had 7 targets, and is running through Dalton Kincaid, who had 10 targets. Yeah. They might not have had all the catches, but they've got 2 focal guys in the middle that are problems to match up against, and you've got more guys on the outside that are coming into their form.
And you'll get Cooper back.
Yes.
Back to the highlights and Coach.
Yeah, we had a thriller. We're talking about down in Nashville right here. You're going to see this right up. And you're going to see right here, it's going to be Drake May, the last play of the game. He's going to buy time. Stays right here. He's going to sit there, stay in the pocket. Fine, buy time. Throw it up there at last minute. Ramondre Stevenson comes down with it for 5 yards. This game would go into overtime. Nick Folk will kick the 25-yard field goal to win it for the Tennessee Titans, and Mason Rudolph, so he gets a big win for him. Mason Rudolph had 2 touchdowns on the day. And then right at the end, this was the last-ditch chance. Amonte Hooker is going to pick off Drake May right there, and he's going to seal the victory. Big win right there for Brian Callahan and the Tennessee Titans as they go to 2-6. And for Mason Rudolph, I mean, it's a big win for him and that football team. Again, they haven't won a game in a long time, and to win that game in overtime like that, it was that's big.
Yeah, and I think even if you're a New England fan looking at it, it's a tough loss, but to have Drake May kind of drive that football team down at the end in a season like this where they're really probably a year or two away from being the team they want to be, little things like that add up for a young player.
And these are 2 first-year coaches, Gerard Mayo and Brian Callahan. So for these guys, you know, this, I know it's only, you say, well, you know, it's not, we're not going to make the playoffs, but you're building something.
Yeah.
You're talking about trying to build a culture down there. And sometimes you can take the second half of the season and you can take it into the following year. I've been a part of that. We may not finish the year 9-7 or 7-9, but all of a sudden you win your last 4 out of 5, and all of a sudden it takes you right into the next season.
Yeah, at this point, because these teams are struggling, it's not about the wins and losses. It's about the measure of the men. Right. Every game is a resume. So you go out there, put it all out on the line, and let's figure out what we're doing moving forward.
No doubt about it. All right, folks, we will step aside for a quick timeout. When we return, we'll continue with more of the State Farm Postgame Show after this. Next Saturday, 3:30 is big time on CBS when Michigan goes on the road against undefeated 8th-ranked Indiana. Get set for kickoff beginning at 2:30 Eastern with CBS College Football Kickoff and College Football Today. The Big Ten is on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. As we welcome you back inside of Studio 43 and the State Farm Postgame Show, and right back to the highlights.
Back to the highlights we go, and we have the Broncos, the Ravens, and there is Derrick Henry, the king, getting ready to do his thing, and he does. He gets in the end zone on this one. This is career rushing touchdown 100. He already has 10 on the season. He would get number 11. The king was balling, and so was Lamar Jackson. Check this out. A beautiful ball thrown to Zay Flowers, a little stop and go, and then he's going to hit the sideline, and he is gone. Zay Flowers on the day, 5 catches, 127 yards, and 2 TDs. And Derrick Henry would get that next touchdown. It just seems like once he gets going, you can't stop him. The king is wearing the crown, and the Ravens get another big-time win in this one, 41-10.
Do you know what the name Zay means, Nate? Abundance or growth.
Ooh.
And boy, did he get it through. All right, folks, after the game, talk about abundance. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry with our own Tracy Wolfson.
Well, we got the dynamic duo of these two here. And what can you say about how explosive this offense was? Describe the clinic you put on today.
Oh, man, I don't even know what to call it. I always say it's a pick your poison offense, and that's pretty much what we showed today. He ran the ball, you know how he always do. Justice came through. Offensive line played terrific. Tight ends, receivers, whole 9 yards. Everyone did their job. That's why we were successful.
Derrick, for you, another 100-yard game, but over 1,000 yards, and it's just week 9. What is it about this Baltimore, this team, that allows you to have such success?
Well, I think it's everybody involved, but it starts with him. You know, he opens it up for everybody, the type of player he is. Man, it's so dynamic. He makes everybody's job easier. You know, when the ball's in his hands, and you know we're in a good spot. But I think everybody just locking in, all 11 of us, focus on execution and getting to the end zone. And you know, our play callers doing a great job as well, our coaches.
You know, I know it's early, but you two are going to have to duke it out for the MVP later this season. How are you going to handle that?
No, that's his. That's his. He deserves it. He deserves it all, man. MVP. MVP3, what we call it, MVP3.
Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy it.
And the LA Chargers visited the Cleveland Browns, and it was Justin Herbert This day, he had 2 touchdown passes. The second one here goes to Quentin Johnston from 66 yards. And there was 2 blown coverages by the Cleveland Browns that gave up 2 big touchdown passes. And then the Chargers do what the Chargers do best. They like to run the football. J.K. Dobbins is going off the left tackle. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. That went from 16 yards. And Jameis Winston, his 3rd interception of the game right there, seals a victory. And the Chargers go to 27, win 27-10, and go to 5-3 on the year.
All right, we have more highlights.
They're coming, Nate. They're coming.
I know, JB. You know, just trying to slow play it.
Yeah, I know you're
Build a little foreplay. All right, so we got the Raiders, the Bengals, and Joe Burrow and the Bengals were cooking. This right here is Andre Yoshibas for the 10-yard TD. It was a little back and forth early, but then it was the Bengals who just pulled away, just like Gesicki pulled away on this run right here. Wide open. Call that a busted coverage or a tremendous route. Gesicki did his thing. Burrow, 5 TDs on the day. 2 of them went to Gesicki. This is basically one team that is trying to figure out who they are in the Bengals, and then the Raiders who are just clinging on to just every little bit of hope that they can.
So during that break, I was coming to you quickly out of the Lamar and Derrick Henry interview. Derrick said, no, the MVP, that's him. Look here, they're both getting it done, 1 and 2.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you can make an argument for both of them.
Yeah,
I mean, you have Derrick Henry, who is the king, and we didn't think a guy at this age would be playing at the level he's playing at. But just like Lamar said, it's pick your poison. Like, what does he mean by that? They have Zay Flowers, who stepped up. He's looking like a true number 1. We know what the running backs are going to do. And I say running backs plural because it's not just Justice Hill did his thing. It's not just Derrick Henry. Lamar is playing with the most composure in all of the NFL. That's why I said they call him MB3. And then I'll look at 2 tight ends. Mark Andrews had 2 catches today. Really didn't do anything, and they didn't need to. Isaiah Likely, 0 catches. What does that mean? If these guys don't have to contribute, but they're still lighting you up on offense, that's who they are. Week in and week out, they can choose whoever they want to attack your specific weaknesses. Yeah. That's why the Ravens are so tough right now.
Yeah, and you were talking about Zay Flowers earlier, right? And what does it mean, Zay? Abundance? Well, he had an abundance of yards. He had abundance of catches. He had an abundance of touchdowns. Let's take a look at it a little bit right here. Lamar's going to find him over the middle. And Zay's dynamic when he gets the ball in space, right? The ability to get yards after the catch. But look at the time Lamar has, too. Zay going up top, high pointing that ball right here. Lamar, again, time, right? He's going to scramble, the little flick. How relaxed? You said poised, right? Just so relaxed at the moment of truth, and then layering the football over the top of the defenders, over the middle of the field. And again, Zay, yards after the catch. They're dynamic in the passing game. Zay is dynamic with the ball in his hand. Look at the playmakers. They've got him all over the place. But Lamar, today, his 4th perfect passer rating. That's the most in the history of the league. This guy's unbelievable, and he's playing really, really well right now.
And just to think, at one point they said he couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah, he can throw.
I mean, I think that's part of his game has become better. But look at the attempts, 19 attempts, okay? Running the football. And I will just say this about the defensive side of the ball, because you talked about this in the pregame about the fact that they've given up more big plays in the passing game than any team in the National Football League. Last year, they lost their defensive coordinator. He's the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Their defensive line coach is a defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. Their defensive back coach is now a defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. So they lost 3 coaches from that staff. Zach Orr, who was the linebacker coach, is now the coordinator. They're going to get better. Yeah. And as I just said to him, all these mistakes and you're trying to create pressure, you got an offense right now. Just don't give up the big play. Simplify it. Make it right now and use your asset. You are an offensive football team and just play defense to complement it. How many times you sit there and say, oh, they're a defensive team that's complemented with offense? You are an offensive football team. Complement them with defense by not giving up the big play. And I think they're going to get better by understanding that.
Yeah, and they did exactly that today, right? They played a lot of zone coverage and kept things in front of them, rallied and tackled and made plays on the football. I think you're exactly right. Their blueprint for success moving forward goes through the offense, which is a little bit different than Baltimore teams of the past.
And let's give a lot of credit to John Harbaugh.
Absolutely.
You lose 3 assistants, and don't forget, he lost his offensive line coach who passed away in the preseason right before the start of the regular season. John Harbaugh is the glue of that organization. You go down here and talk about Ozzie, John Harbaugh, and again, it just starts at the top. This football team is resilient. They get character people, and they understand that it's a journey. And they're going to continue to get better.
And last thing, you remember a few years ago when they're saying Lamar needs a little bit of help. You got to get him some guys. That organization has done a great job of providing him with guys.
They haven't even gotten to Deontay Johnson.
That's what I'm saying. And they bring in Derrick Henry. We're all wondering, what is it going to be like when Derrick puts on that Baltimore Ravens?
You know what it's going to be like, downhill.
Downhill, old school running. And Derrick appreciates the fact that if you just give me a little bit of space, I'll do the rest. I'll break some tackles. I'll stiff arm some guys. And you know what? Derrick doesn't show up as much on the receiving end of things, but here, you put him in space, you get some guys out in front of him. He might not be a receiving running back because he can play in between the tackles so well. But look at this. Most rush TDs all time. Derrick Henry, 101.
A lot of Hall of Famers on there.
He's getting ready to pass John Riggins and Jim Brown. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Hall of Famers.
Man.
And he doesn't look to be slowing down, to me, right?
No doubt.
Like, I think those numbers are going to continue to explode, not only this year, but down the line for them. You talk about finding pieces to put around Lamar and then changing, not like your entire identity, but changing just enough to fit those pieces into what you want to do.
Just to contextualize, I go back to Jonathan Jones during the pregame when he was talking about, and I'm not going to call the guy's name out, he's already done it, the lack of a serious work ethic to realize what you have versus Lamar coming into the league where many people doubted that he could do what he could do, but he made it clear resolutely, I'm a quarterback, and every year he's worked to improve and perfect that game.
Yep.
They put the pieces around him, and I'm loving what he represents. You talk about John Harbaugh, he's done a remarkable job. As a matter of fact, after the game, it was John Harbaugh in the locker room doing what he does so well.
I don't know what this guy's going to do with all the game balls he's going to have in his house someday. Perfect passer rating, NFL record, fourth of his career. Lamar Jackson!
Hey, man, let's just keep it going, man, because this ain't nothing, man. Let's just keep it going, keep our head focused, keep our eyes on the prize, man. Get ready for Thursday. Family on 2, 1, 2. Family. Good shit,
I see you, baby.
I love that leadership. This is a guy who has all of the personal accolades you can get, right? But it's focused on what's in front of them. It's focused on what's next. And I think that's a scary proposition for everybody else in the AFC.
And we've been in and around this game for a long time. When there's certain guys that are in leadership positions and they're fronting. When it's false enthusiasm and they're just saying cliches. Lamar Jackson is for real.
No
when he talks about being focused, not caring about MVPs, understanding that we have to win a Super Bowl here in Baltimore, he means it. And the team understands that too. So they mimic exactly what their leadership is. And you see everybody putting in the work with one goal on mind. Regular season's fine. We'll put up number stats. All these accolades are great. We got to win a Super Bowl around here. And that right there is the standard in Baltimore. And Lamar is focused on that.
He has been driven by that game that we were at, the AFC
absolutely,
game.
Bill.
And that game, he walked away from that game, and he feels like they felt empty.
Absolutely.
So he is not going, until he gets back to that game and gets to a Super Bowl, that man is a focused man with a sense of purpose.
You've delineated a few things already about John Harbaugh, but what is it that he does that they keep listening to him? He's been doing it for a long time.
He loves guys that love football. Oh, yeah, it kind of sounds like Jim Harbaugh.
It's the Harbaugh way.
It's a Harbaugh. Who's got it better than them? Nobody.
Well, there you have it, folks. We will step aside for a quick timeout. Back with more of the State Farm Postgame Show right here on CBS.